I said I'll pay you to try. In fact, I am paying you to
Stugotz.
try.
Mad Dog's doing top 5 pro dynasties.
I guarantee you, I can tell you who's not in it. The Chiefs. There's no way Doggy would do that. If he does, someone put him up to it.
I cannot wait for all the black and white footage that is going to air over this top 5 list.
I can't wait to see
We
it.
haven't had one that's pre-1980 yet. We have number 5, the 1970s Steelers.
Nailed it.
He's right about that.
Number 3 is the 1960s Packers.
Perfect.
Number 4 is the 1976 to 1979 Montreal Canadiens.
Yep. Guy Lafleur.
3-year dynasty?
They won 4 titles in a row?
The Canadians?
Yeah.
I believe so.
A lot of hockey teams winning 4
I
titles
thought
in
it
a
was
row,
supposed to be over like a decade, though. Wasn't that one of your criteria? Or does the back-to-back twice negate it?
Back-to-back twice negates everything.
Okay. Fair enough.
49 to 53 Yankees is number 2.
It's the ultimate trump card, Stugotz. If you can go back to back to back to back,
Negates everything. It's a dynasty. Yes.
You immediately pass all of the gates and all of the qualifications. You get to go around the board for free. You have entered Stugotz's Dynasty Hall of Fame. And number 1 for Mad Dog here is...
Well, Stephen A. is has a face. Bill Russell Celtics.
So there have been no dynasties in the last 40 years, according to
Guess
Mad
not.
Dog Russo.
60 years.
Not the Patriots, not the Yankees of the 90s.
Not the Spurs.
Really?
11 championships.
Not Alabama.
57, 59 to 66, 68, and 69 for the Celtics. Number 1. So nothing since 1980. Nothing in 43 years meets Mad Dog's criteria to make the top 5.
There were a handful of sports things, Stugotz, that I wanted to get to quietly after many, many years and a lot of change in the league. Kawhi Leonard.
Holy shit, he's playing good.
And all of his load management. They appear to be ramping up Kawhi Leonard in a very difficult West. They've been, for 3 years, he's been on a treadmill trying to get to whatever this postseason is.
It's working.
And the league has changed around them, though, because they made the seismic trade, and now the Suns exist. Just waiting for Kevin Durant to get healthy. But yes, Kawhi Leonard has been good. Another sports thing that I wanted to get to, though, with the group is, and I've seen recently that the lack of sports knowledge around here in Who Dat Is, new video series we're doing, is alarming. Nobody, or we didn't have enough people who knew max contract. I was surprised by how many of you didn't know it was Markkanen.
I mean, I could have guessed forever, and Lauri Markkanen never would have came out of my mouth.
I really thought I had it with Josh Giddey. Like, white, good Western Conference basketball players. I was so close.
This happens with the late night games and the East Coast and Miami especially. I would say that the Western Conference is something that we often don't see enough of their games. But the thing I wanted to ask the group is, can you guys name a slam dunk participant? A slam dunk, the slam dunk contest that our crew is going to cover. We've got 3 or 4 people going to the NBA All-Star game. Can the entire group name a slam dunk participant?
Off the top of my head, or if I saw them, would I know who any of them are?
I don't think you'd know what they look like, but if I'm just asking you the more general, name someone who's competing in this thing this year. Because the names are KJ Martin, Trey Murphy III, Mac McClung, and Jericho Sims.
Mac McClung is a name that was randomly generated in NBA 2K when you're 10 years into your career mode, and it's like a free agent or an auto draft pick out of Georgetown.
Stugotz, who does Jericho Sims play for?
Wow.
You don't know?
The Heat?
You're a Knicks fan.
So?
How do you not know? How do you not know somebody on your team?
He gets minutes.
He does?
Are you not watching your basketball?
Jericho Sims doesn't get minutes.
He's on your team.
And he's not even in the NBA. I mean, is he good?
I watched him play this season.
He
That's
doesn't
'cause
get minutes.
I'm forced to watch Knicks games against my will.
Sorry. I mean, you knew Jericho Sims like before he was announced as a dunk contest participant.
I'm sorry, Stugotz, to disappoint you, but it's your team. You don't need to turn this around on me.
I am totally lashing out at you.
He does appear to only he's like 11th on the team in minutes per game.
I know. I
But
mean,
it's
come
on
on.
Stugotz's
No, he should
team,
know. He should know
though.
he exists.
Regardless.
Really?
Jessica, by virtue of stumping Stugotz on that question, the floor is now yours on this volcano talk because we did, as a show, we were a little bit surprised that a guided tour of a volcano that is not active, we naively thought as a group that the tour guide company would make sure that we would not be burned by ash or somehow in peril in the documentary that we saw about the New Zealand volcano, but which is the one that you saw?
Well, so the New Zealand island documentary is the White Island eruption. That one is on Netflix, and I read the outside story on that 3 or 4 years ago, and it traumatized me. Like it was really, really outstanding writing and reporting, but like legitimately scared the shit out of me. So I will not be watching that Netflix documentary. However, I did see one that Chris Cody also watched that was nominated for Best Documentary at the Academy Awards this year, called Fire of Love, which is about these two volcanologists who dedicated their entire lives to studying volcanoes. It is one of the best documentaries I've probably seen in a really long time. But between that and the Netflix one, volcanoes are really having a moment. Like, I can't escape volcano talk on any of these streaming apps. And volcanoes aren't something that I generally think about because I don't think there's anywhere near us in Miami, although I did look it up after I watched this documentary just to make sure. But now I'm really afraid of them. They're very scary. What are we doing about volcanoes?
Actively avoiding them.
It's a good question. Yeah.
I mean,
And spoiler alert, the doc Jess is talking about is a couple that just spent their entire life doing this. And spoiler alert, they say it at the start of the doc. They don't make it. They end up dying together while studying and
In a volcanic eruption in Japan.
And it makes you wonder, in the moment when they were going, did they regret ever? Like, you know how Ron Burgundy, I immediately regret this decision. Like, it's like, oh, I want to go out that way until you're going out that way. But it seemed like they were just good with it.
They said, like, during the documentary, you know, they both couldn't imagine doing anything differently their whole lives. Like, the work they did was so important. They talked about how their research on volcanoes led to safety measures that saved thousands of lives during a volcanic eruption after they died, and that, you know, that what they did for science was super important. And they took an incredible 16 millimeter film of all of their studies. And the other thing I was thinking about while watching this, Chris Cody, I wonder if you think, is like, they're taking all these films and they're selling, you know, some of the film and the photography and all of this stuff. Like, they're making a living off of this, but like, they didn't even have TikTok back then. Yeah. Like, they are taking some of these.
They'd crush today.
They're stepping on volcanic rock, putting their lives
at
risk.
It would go so viral
constantly.
today.
They're not even getting a double tap out of that. Crazy to me.
Why would you do that if you're not going to get engagement? Ridiculous.
I think they got IRL engagement, which I guess that matters too. But I'm telling you, like, we always talk about how, you know, people are so stupid they'll stand next to a cliff for an Instagram photo and like people fall off like cliffs all the time. And like, these people did that in the 70s. Like, this has probably been going on since the dawn of human history. People standing really close to dangerous things while taking videos or photos of it.
What's the scariest picture you guys have ever taken? I'm a coward with that stuff. I won't, like, I think at the Grand Canyon, I went like 20 feet away from a ledge, and I was like, "Look at me."
You're afraid of heights?
I'm not, just in general, like, I'm not gonna like, if I'm hiking, like, I'm not gonna go. Let me go stand on that boulder, because it's like, what if that boulder decides to? Yeah, I don't.
And for edges and railings, not for like. Keep a distance.
Juju, put it on the poll. Good restraint there. Not saying not for me, Clive. There, a good self-edit button.
Shocking.
Proud of you.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Juju, is scientific advancement and discovery worth it if you can't get taps on TikTok for them?
I've become a lot more cautious since I've probably gotten a little bit older. Like, I used to be someone who would go for a hike up a mountain, or, you know, like when I was in Cape Town, we went on this really famously dangerous drive around a cliffside called Chapman's Peak, and it was really scary.
How close to the edge?
Very close to the edge. legitimately terrifying. And as we were driving it, my brother-in-law was like, "Oh, a family once plummeted off the cliffside in a car and famously survived. Like it became an ad campaign for Mercedes." And I'm like, "Why are you telling me this?"
I think the scariest picture I've ever taken is like on a cruise ship when I lean my phone over the balcony.
Oh my God! Well, that's
And I
scary
like
for your
take
phone.
a selfie, just like that's what I mean. The scary, like I put my phone at a lot of risk there.
Would you ever do the Titanic at the front of the ship?
Oh,
Like,
no.
Spread your arms
No,
out and
no,
lean
no,
over?
no.
I'm not doing that shit either.
Another story that I saw in the New York Times. You remember John Jaso, right, Stugotz? A great baseball name.
John Jaso was a utility guy, wasn't he?
I believe he was a power hitting first baseman for the Pirates. I'm not totally sure. I don't remember. But the reason that the story got some attention is because he made millions of dollars, but not a crazy amount of millions. Not like Chad Henne, 40 million. He made millions of dollars as somebody who hit home runs and then up and quit because he figured he made enough to go buy a boat and go sail around in places with his girlfriend, and just like took a totally different path of, and I think he was 33 or so, I'm not sure, but he could have made more money, and he just decided, nope, I've done sports. I use sports. Sports did not use me. This is the life that I wanted. I'm going to buy a boat. I've got enough money.
He made just enough money to buy a boat. He didn't have a great career. Like his career high in homers is 10. Like he had 2 years of hitting 10 homers, 55 total. This Jaso thought his career was done and decided to take a trip around the world in a boat.
Turned into Captain Ron.
Jesus.
He decided to have life perspective and choose a different path on the seas.
How about take a path around the bases once in a while? I mean,
This guy looks like a guy that's on a boat, though. You see this guy? The pictures of him on his boat? He looks happy, man.
He does.
Jaso?
I mean, it has to be better than some left-hander throwing 97-mile-an-hour sliders at you.
Do
Then
this
he
or
couldn't
face
hit,
Sandy
I mean.
Alcantara. Which one do I want to do here?
I'm gonna go buy a boat. I don't like so much that every reliever coming out of the bullpen throws 102 miles an hour, and I'm still John Jaso.
Stay away from volcanoes on that boat, buddy.
Yeah.